Hello students, good morning. Let us start our sources of history. In the previous session, we are completed archaeological sources. Today our topic is literary sources. If you haven't watched the previous video, watch it first before watching this topic. Okay. What is literary sources? Literary sources are the oral and written records of humans who lived thousands of years ago. We know a lot about the lives and times of ancient people because those records have been transferred over generations orally in the form of folk tales, myths, a story originating in popular culture, and songs, myths, etc. Myths means a traditional stories. Okay. Writing was invented around 5000 years ago and people learned to put together letters to form words and sentences. But there was no paper to write on as paper was invented much later. So they wrote on stone walls, palm leaves, rocks, bark of beech trees, parchments, etc. These documents are called manuscript. Manuscript means the author's original work written or typed by him or her. This word is derived from manu, the Latin word for hand. Most of these manuscripts perished due to bad weather or bad weather. Perish means it lost its normal qualities or probably because they were written on poor material. Example, palm leaves, bark of beech trees, etc. But some of them survived the wars. These manuscripts, which can be found in museums, monasteries, and temples. Monasteries means a place which is home of a religious community such as monks, have been recognized as religious and secular literature. Okay, let us see what is religious literature. Religious literature contains manuscripts which were related to religion or mythology, such as the Vedas, Rig Veda, Samveda, Yajurveda, Atharvaveda, the Ramayana, the Mahabharata, and the Puranas. They give us detailed information about ancient India. In addition to this, the Tripitaka of the Buddhists and the Angas of the Jains are also religious manuscripts which give us an insight into the lives of the people who existed during that age. Okay. Next is secular literature. Secular literature contains manuscripts which are not religious. For example, biographies, plays, stories, travel accounts, books on science and technology, politics, etc. The memoirs of travelers. Memoirs means a historical account written from personal knowledge, such as Fa Han and Huinsang, who visited India long ago, gave detailed account of their experiences. There were others such as Kalhana, who wrote chronicles to give a detailed account of their kingdom. The Rajatarangini is a classical example which tells about Kashmir till 12th century CE. Let us move our next topic, division of time. While studying history, the events are classified under two periods, before the birth of Christ and after. The period before Christ's birth is known as BC, now popularly known as BCE, means before Common Era. Dates in BC are counted backwards. For example, 100 BC would be closer to Christ's birth than 150 BC, or putting it simply 100 years before the birth of Christ and 150 years before the birth of Christ. The year Christ's birth is taken as 1 AD, Anno Domini, now also known as CA, means Common Era. We live in AD or Common Era. We can say AD or Common Era. Almost 2013 years after Christ's birth. Okay. Next, our geographical framework. The geographical framework. Geographical means relating to the features of the earth. Example, relating to an area or country. It is believed that India, which was known as Bharat many years ago, got its present name because of the Greeks who came here for trade. They pronounced the river Sindhu as Indus and started calling the people Indio, people of the Indus. That is how the terms India and Indian came into being. Okay. Next, geography has played a very important role in shaping our country. Geography means study of the land. Our past, present and future. The topographical differences between different regions are so great. Topography means is the study of the shape and features of land surfaces. Example, plains, mountains, rivers, etc. The weather in the plains is very different from that in the mountains, which again is very different from that in the coastal regions. That India, along with the neighboring countries Pakistan, Myanmar, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka and Nepal is also referred to as a subcontinent. First of all, we should know the meaning of continent. Continent means a large land masses on the surface of the earth. Subcontinent means a large distinguishable part of a continent. Okay. Next, Himalayas in the north of the country stand as a guard which not only protects us from enemies but also from cold Siberian winds. The passes in the mountains act as routes for trade, travel and even battle. The long coastline, Bay of Bengal in the east, the Arabian Sea in the west and the Indian Ocean in the south helped our ancestors establish trade relations with other countries. Our country is fed many rivers, the Ganga, the Narmada, the Yamuna and many more, making our land a very suitable one. The river valleys formed around these were the areas where people settled first because of the fertile soil and transportation possibilities through rivers. These favorable geographical conditions helped in building up not only a good population but cultural abundance as well. Okay, as we go ahead, we will discover how geography has shaped the history of our country. Okay, students, today we have finished our lesson number 1, why history. I hope all of you understood this lesson. Okay, thank you.